Hi everyone, my name's Emma. I am a second year medical student studying in Australia and I am now officially an online medical student. I'm sure many of you are stuck studying at home right now and studying online, and for a lot of us that could be something really new. So since I did a master's entirely online, I kind of accumulated some tips and tricks. So I thought I would compile them all together to make a sort of top 10 list for all of you. So the first section, how to stay organized. I don't think I really have to explain the purpose of that, but it can be a bit harder without the structure of going to classes every day or the structure of maybe your commute and a morning routine, that kind of thing, to stay organized. So I've got 3 tips for you. The first is have a weekly plan. So if you're like me, some of our classes are still in person and online, so they're happening through Zoom or Skype and things like that. So I have a bit of a weekly schedule laid out. If you don't, if all of your content is sort of just uploaded at the beginning of the week and you're expected to work your way through it, then I highly suggest creating yourself a weekly schedule. It can be really rigid. You could do the same thing every Monday and the same thing every Tuesday, or you can be more flexible and kind of make it the Sunday before just to give yourself some variety. It's whatever really works for you, but definitely have a schedule, and I wouldn't suggest taking it sort of day by day. I personally like to use Google Calendar for this. I use it when I have in-person classes because it's very flexible and I can see it on my phone. But I also like to sprinkle in a little bullet journaling, and since I'm mostly home, it's kind of nice. It's a nice way to relax. But use whatever method works for you. Just make that plan. The second point is keep a daily routine and set yourself boundaries. Honestly, setting yourself a daily morning routine or daily morning ritual, maybe you make a nice coffee, can really help set your mind and get your mind ready for the day. If you kind of make a habit of these things, getting up at the same time every day, very importantly, getting dressed. Don't stay in your PJs just because you're home. I'm not saying you have to go all out and be ready for business attire or business casual, but just get dressed. I will still be quite comfy, but I'm wearing jeans instead of my PJs, and I'm trying to sort of mimic what I would wear if I was going to lecture that day. And the important point is that you're getting dressed. It helps wake you up. I even put on a little bit of makeup some days if I want to just feel a little bit more presentable for myself and my cat. Now, the daily routine portion is also very important for telling yourself when to stop. When work and play or home and school are now sort of one thing, it can be really hard to set those boundaries of, no, I'm putting my work down for the day and I am going to do something for me, I'm going to relax, and I'm going to have an evening. And since we can't go out right now either, those evenings can be kind of hard to delineate. So making sure that you have both a good morning routine and preferably a very good and structured start time, and then a good time to stop when you're officially done doing all of your work-related, study-related things, so that you can have an evening and have some time to relax. It may not feel like you've earned the right to relax because you've been home all day, but if you're working throughout the day, nice and dedicated, believe me, you've earned it. Finally, number 3, the good old to-do list. Set yourself a to-do list. You can make it the night before, or you could make it the morning of. Sometimes I like to do it while I'm enjoying my coffee. It's a good way to get the ball rolling. It's really helpful. It helps you keep track of what you need to do because we don't have these external forces telling us as much. So it's hard to, sometimes it's hard to remember that you have to review material for a class when that class now kind of happens whenever you want it to. So setting a daily to-do list to get things done. Also, we all love that sweet, sweet crossing something off. It does definitely make you feel like you're being productive and you're getting things done throughout the day. One thing with to-do lists, I always caution, don't make yourself a very, very, very long to-do list with too many things on, because that can just be more debilitating at the end of the day and more discouraging than it actually is encouraging. So I would definitely say, if you're going to write a to-do list, kind of brain dump everything you need to do, but then prioritize and put down maybe 2 or 3 things, big things that need to be done today, and include some things for yourself. So include something like a HIIT workout, a walk outside if you're allowed to go outside, and reading, anything like that, time for your hobbies. Put those on your to-do list because they're as important, especially when we're working and living in the same space. Section 2, having a dedicated space. I'm looking at mine right here. This is less tips and tricks and more just me for 3 points rambling as to why it is so important to have a dedicated study space and how you can make sure that that is working for you. So the first tip is having a dedicated study space. If you have a place in your room, your home, wherever, that you only sit and study at, or you only sit and do work at, it will help trick your brain that when you're sitting there, oh, this is focus time. We mean business when we're here. We don't mean scroll on Instagram and watch YouTube and all of those other things. So having a dedicated space is really important. It doesn't have to be necessarily your desk. You can study at your desk, your dining table, a coffee table, at the end of your bed. I don't care. It just cannot be the same place that you do your fun activities. So it shouldn't be actually in your bed or on your bed. It shouldn't be an area where you kind of blur the lines. You need to set a very structured space for you to be in. Point 2, take a break from your space. So you have this dedicated space, and that's the space where you are meant to be doing focus. You're allowed to walk away from that space and go take your breaks, and you should. As much as you can, when you're taking a break, get out of that space. If you're in a small dorm room, it can mean simply getting up from the chair and sitting on the bed. Just delineating those two spaces can really be helpful in the long run. It can feel a little bit stringent at the beginning, but honestly, put in some work creating these routines and these spaces for a little while, and you'll start to feel it kind of make a little bit more sense. And the third tip is spend some time, especially now if you've just been told that you're going to be studying online or working from home, make the space work for you. So take some time, set it up, put it in a new corner of the room, since now it's no longer the desk that you sometimes work at, it's the desk that you work at all the time. So you need to put in that effort to make it work for you. Some people, if you're like me, I really like to have a nice big open workspace where I can really spread out. I also like to be facing the window so that I can look outside. Bonus is that my cat also likes to do that, so I get some company. But if you like candles and you like to be cozy, you like it to relax, do that. But just make it a place that you feel you can sit and focus on, and a space that you want to be in. So decorate it a little if you have the ability to. Bring in some plants, do that kind of thing, because you're going to be here the majority of the day, so it's going to be a place that works for you. Part 3, how to stay human. This is probably the most important part, so keep watching. First and foremost, break up your day. So whether that is by doing the Pomodoro technique or giving yourself a 9 to 5 with breaks and a lunch, just please be a nice HR department to yourself and actually give yourself some nice breaks. Just set aside time during the day. You can have a timer for them. You can have an alarm telling you when to take them. But it's a time to do nothing, or a time to do something genuinely fun and recharging for you. So I may take 5 minutes and play with my cat, and that counts. I may take a longer lunch and I'll sit and watch a TV show that I can turn my brain off to, and it will be out of my dedicated space into something where I do my fun things, and it lets your brain rest. Since again, we've blurred those lines between work and home, it can be really hard to stop, and you need to take the self-discipline and stop and be kind to yourself. I don't think we realize when we're studying on campus or when we're going to and from lectures how much snippets of time we get chatting with a friend or literally just sitting and doing nothing. And those add up, and they actually kind of add to our sanity and our feeling of us. So try to give yourself that throughout the day as well. And that leads me very nicely to point 2, connect with humans. Real human beings. I know when we're isolated, it can be very hard and sometimes not even allowed to actually interact with someone face to face, but there are ways in today that we can mimic that. So you could have, if you like to study in groups, have Skype sessions with your study buddies. There's nothing stopping you from still doing that. Or even better, have a Skype session as one of your breaks and talk about something other than school.
Wow.
I sometimes will even just have study sessions with a friend who will be studying completely different things, but we're on Skype keeping each other accountable. That's a really good trick for sort of that mid-afternoon dip. You spend 10-15 minutes catching up, seeing how their day's going, and then you sit down and you study together just like you would in the library. We also have phones, and I know that's mind-blowing, but you can call people. Call your friends and have a quick chat. Call your mom. And just speak to someone about how their day is going, how your day is going. Use that time, stretch your legs, go for a bit of a walk. Just really important to get that human connection. And my third tip is to make things. I think when we get, at least for me, when I'm at home and I'm doing a lot of digital work, and even my classes are digital, and I never get up and go to school, I feel like I'm not doing anything. And sometimes the to-do list crossing off just feels very arbitrary and it all feels very intangible. So I've started trying to bring something tangible back into my life. I've picked up a hobby again. I used to do embroidery, started doing that now, and I really, really enjoy it. I will try to handwrite notes a little bit more because at the end of the day you can look at your stack of notes and think, yeah, I did that. Or even like get a coloring book. Do something with your hands that you can tangibly look at and see it's done at the end of the day or at the end of the task. It just kind of taps into something in me that helps me feel like I'm actually a contributing member of society instead of someone just on their computer doing nothing all day. And a bonus tip for this section to round it out to 10 is try to stay grounded. And I know this can sound kind of airy-fairy and it's a bit unique for every person, but some things like that would be journaling at the end of the day, writing in a gratitude journal, making sure that you're talking to friends and family, people that make you feel like you, and making sure that you're still doing things that make you feel like you. It's a really stressful time right now and a lot of things are really up in the air, so it's important to still focus on the parts of our lives that we can control and the parts of our lives that we are still grateful for. And that has been really helping me along this sort of journey to online learning in staying grounded and staying okay with the situation that I'm in. Try journaling, try gratitude journal, or may I suggest getting a kitty to snuggle. So those are my 10 tips to stay organized, my emphasis of the importance of a dedicated space, and how to stay human. So give this video a like if you found it helpful. I tried a bit of a new style editing this one, so I hope you liked it. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see more adventures in med school, more videos of Tuesday, my cat, and just more advice if I can offer it. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye. One last thing I just wanted to say is that when you're stuck at home, whether because you have to be or you're choosing to be, that also means being stuck alone with your own thoughts. And a lot of the time that can be a bit much for us, and being in the same space all the time can be a bit much for some people. So remember to stay kind to yourself and others, and to try to take care of yourself as much as you can in your new space and in this new environment. Cuddle a cat if you have one. Call your friends and family and take care of you. Remember, you're more important than your studies.